so today we're doing multiplying in algebra. The last lesson we did adding and subtracting in algebra. So remember, with the adding and subtracting, you're looking for like terms. You look along and have a look at what things have got the same letters in them. But in multiplying, you don't. You can multiply anything. I'm going to write that down here. I'll go through this in a minute, but it's very important. You can multiply anything. You don't have to have like terms. So in other words, it's going to be a lot easier because you don't have to look for like terms. Okay, so if we have a look at the top here, we firstly multiply the numbers. So you're going to use your calculator for that. So it doesn't matter how many numbers there are that you need to multiply or whether they're negative numbers. You just use your calculator and you can't get that wrong then. Then we write all the letters down on the end. Okay, just write them all on the end of the answer. The only thing you have to do is have a little think about this. So if you have x times x times x times y, what we do is we look at x times x, and we write that down as x to the power of 3. Because what x to the power of 3 means is that we are writing the x down 3 times and multiplying them. Okay? Then this bit here, y times y, well, you write the y down, and how many times do you see it being multiplied? 2, so it's y to the power of 2. And you don't write anything in between, no times sign or anything, just write it like that. Okay, so we can multiply anything. Alright, so in these questions we've been asked to simplify, which means that when we get to our answer it's going to look shorter than what it does at the moment. Alright, so let's do what we said over here. We're going to multiply our numbers. So on your calculator you're going to do 5 times 3. And when you do that you're going to get an answer of 15, and we're going to write it down. Then we write all the letters on the end. And we've only got one letter, y, so we're going to write it on the end. That's your answer. So let's look at the next one. We've got 2 times f times 6. The first thing we're going to do is multiply those two numbers. So use your calculator. 2 times 6 is 12. And then we're going to write any letter on the end. So the f goes on the end. Next one. So this time we've got 3 numbers to multiply. So you're going to write in your calculator 2 times 4 times 9, and then equals at the end. Don't press any equals until the end. Okay, so we're going to go 2 times 4 times 9, press equals 72. Write that down. Then we're going to get our letters and write them on the end. So we have an A and an X. They're both going to be written on the end. Okay, so I don't want you doing this when we're adding and subtracting because we're looking for like terms then. But in multiplying, it's really easy. Now, if you wrote 72XA, you'd still be right. Okay, but the textbook answers will normally put the letters in alphabetical order, but you don't have to. Okay, so let's look at the next one. We're doing the numbers first. Do 3 times 4 on your calculator, and you get a 12. Write it down. Now, this bit here, we've got D times D. Now remember what I said over here. So if we have D times D, we only write that D down once. But how many times is it being multiplied? Twice. So that's where the little 2 comes in. So that's your answer, 12D squared. Alright, the next one, we're doing our numbers first. 3 times 6. The calculator will give you 18. And all our numbers go on the end. Now I'm going to try and do it in alphabetical order just so I can see that we've done everything. So our first one in alphabetical order would be M. So we've only got one M, so we'll write that down. Our next one in alphabetical order would be P. Now if you look here, we've got 2 P's. So we're going to write P down, but we've got 2 of them, you put the little squared at the top. And the last letter in alphabetical order is Q, so we'll now write that down. And that's your answer. Let's have a look at number 6. Now this one's got a negative number in it, but it doesn't matter. Okay, you are just going to do minus 4 times 2 on your calculator, and it will give you minus 8. Now we're going to write all our letters on the end, Y and Z. All right, this next question has decided to put something in brackets. When you have brackets, if there's something inside it, you work it out. But inside that bracket, all I've got is a minus 7, so there's nothing to work out. So I can write this question down without the brackets. We don't need that bracket there. Okay, now we're going to do our numbers. So we're going to do 9 times minus 7, and that will give you on your calculator minus 63. And then we're going to put our letter on the end. All right, let's look at the next one. They've decided to give us a few brackets here. Let's look at this bracket. Is there anything to work out in there? No. Look at this bracket. Is there anything to work out in there? No. If there was, we'd have to work that thing out, but there isn't. So we can write this down without the bracket. And now we're going to just look at our numbers. We have a 5, minus 4 and minus 2. I'm going to multiply all of those on your calculator. So remember, you're putting the whole of that lot in and pressing equals at the end. So let's have a look. We're doing 5 times minus 4 times minus 2. Okay, press equals and we get 40. Write that down. All right, now let's look at the letters. We've got C times C. So what do we do then? We write the C down. How many times do you see it? 2. That's what we put up the top. All right, the next one, we don't have any numbers to multiply here. So that bit we don't have to do. So now we're just looking at the letters. They're all Y's, so let's just write it down once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them that we see. So we have a 5 up the top. All right, what about this next one? Let's look at this bit first. What would that be? We only write the G once. And how many do you see? 4. That goes up the top. Now we don't write any time sign down, we just go straight to writing our H. And how many do you see here? 2. So we write a little 2 up the top. All right, and the last question over here. We've only got one number, so we don't need to multiply it or anything. We just write it down. It's just minus 7. And what happens here with these letters? You only write the A once, but how many times do you see it? 3 times, so that's the little number at the top. Okay, so it's a fairly short lesson today, but you've really got to make sure you understand this. The homework, you're going to set them out the same way as I have, so question, okay? And then underneath, I want you to write equals and the answer. All right, that's the least amount of work that I want you to see you do, the question, equals and the answer underneath. All right, have fun with your homework, and if there's any questions, make sure you let me know. All right, you can email me or stay on the Zoom and we'll have a look.